Happy 4th of July, folks, if you're in the States. If not, happy Sunday. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network and on Peacock. And today we're talking the July 3rd, 2021 edition of Talking Smack. Now, for the second straight week, Paul Heyman was replaced, not on the show, instead replaced by Pat McAfee. I'm not complaining, because I love Pat McAfee. I thought he was great here with Kayla Braxton. But as I said last week, there's just a different dynamic to the duo of Kayla and Paul. So hopefully Heyman is not officially done with the show, because they made it sound like both last week and this week that Heyman wasn't on because he was out putting out fires with Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns and the whole Edge situation. So hopefully it's not a permanent change. I know Heyman is obviously busy as an on-air character, but he has been for the last year. Heyman's been on the show now for close to 7 or 8 months here on Talking Smack alongside Kayla, because they started out with The Miz, I think, and then Xavier, and then Sami Zayn, and they were all on the show at different points. Paul Heyman's been great. I wasn't a fan of it initially because he was a bit too character for me and was kind of distracting, and he would bully Kayla, and she didn't really know how to react to it. But they've found a great chemistry together to where, as great as Pat McAfee is, they don't have that same dynamic that Heyman and Braxton do. So hopefully, I love Pat, don't get me wrong. If anyone's going to replace Paul Heyman, it should be Pat McAfee. But I really hope this isn't it for Heyman, because another thing that was great about Heyman, not only his analysis and like his show-ending rants here on Talking Smack, was the interaction that he would have with a lot of the talent. His interaction with the Mysterios, Daniel Bryan when he was around, Big E was great, especially Kevin Owens. Those two were fucking great together. Sami Zayn, Bianca, a lot of people here on Talking Smack really had great interactions with Heyman. So hopefully this is not it for him as the host, but I guess we'll find out in the coming weeks whether he comes back or not. So McAfee says that he's really looking forward to debuting in front of fans in a couple of weeks in Texas over Money in the Bank weekend, as, you know, he's been in front of fans before with WWE. He's been working on and off with WWE as like an analyst. There's a pre-show panelist and stuff like that since like 2018, 2019. So he's been in front of fans before, but not since he started like wrestling for WWE and being an on-air performer in NXT and now as a commentator. So I'm sure he's really looking forward to that in a couple of weeks. He and Kayla recap Edge attacking Jimmy Uso at the end of the show, really sending a statement to Roman Reigns and that Roman's Universal Championship could be in jeopardy at the pay-per-view. Kayla questions how Reigns treats the Usos and how, you know, he kind of plays these mind games with them and manipulates them, even though they try to stand up to him. He's like, no, do my dirty work because you need to. Like, that's where you're at. You're beneath me type thing. Whereas McAfee completely defends Roman Reigns. He's a big Roman Reigns guy, and he says that I think he treats him fairly well, all things considered. And Kayla jokes that maybe, hopefully, her next co-host won't be so Roman Reigns biased. They also talk about Baron Corbin losing his tag team match on the show. Bad things come in 3, she says. He lost his car, he lost his entrance, and he lost his match on Friday Night SmackDown. And for the first time in all the years that she's been working for WWE, this is the first time that she has actually pitied Baron Corbin. She also talks about Otis looking mean and how aggressive and intense he was against Angelo Dawkins, picking up the win on SmackDown this week. Pat says that Gable has turned Otis into an absolute barbaric savage, in McAfee's own words. The first guest they have here on the show is Bayley, and they recap the announcement from, was it Bianca who made the challenge? I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was. That it's going to be an I Quit match for the SmackDown Women's Championship at Money in the Bank. And now, for as much as they want this feud to end, and I really do, like we've seen this feud for months now, even dating back to last year, and they work well together. I've enjoyed it. It's not like it's a bad feud or a bad storyline. I'm ready for the next thing. And the booking doesn't even make sense because Bianca has now decisively defeated Bayley twice on pay-per-view. There is no reason for a third match. But as I said in my audio review of SmackDown yesterday, if they're going to do a third match, at least it also has a stipulation, and a stipulation, mind you, that we have not seen from the women in WWE on the main roster in 13 years since Beth Phoenix and Melina at One Night Stand 08. That's crazy. But she calls herself a genius for getting inside Bianca's head and kind of giving her another SmackDown Women's title opportunity. And what I don't understand, and I said this in my SmackDown audio review, in that if Bayley loses, what's stopping her from just continuing to get in the mind of Bianca? You know, I guess that's a typical wrestling thing, like with heels, where they bother the baby faces and then they like just give up after that. and then like the babyface moves in a different direction. I guess that's just how wrestling works. But that was one question I had because Bianca's like, oh, we got to end this in an I Quit match. Well, what's to say it's the end? Why don't you say that if Bayley loses, she can no longer get any opportunities of that championship for as long as you're champion? That's what I would say. Regardless, she does admit that Bianca is at the top of her game right now. And she clarifies her comments because McAfee was like, oh, you said you would quit all of WWE and quit competition altogether if you lost. And she says, well, I probably would because I don't see myself losing. She didn't say that she would. You know Bayley's losing. There's no way they're taking that title off Bianca so close to SummerSlam before Sasha can come back. I heavily doubt that. So, with that being said, what was I even saying? Oh, about her quitting the company. I don't know why I got off track there, but I lost myself in my notes. She's not obviously retiring from the ring. She's not quitting WWE. She's not even quitting SmackDown, I would assume. So, for her to even say that was dumb, because you know she's not going to, and they can always blame it on the whole heel shtick, like, oh, I said I might, but I didn't say I actually would, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so they clarify that whole thing. And she says if there was any time to quit WWE, it would have been after Bianca won the championship at WrestleMania and became the SmackDown Women's Champion, because it disgusted her that much for her to even witness Bianca being the champion at the moment. She would rather have it be a fair match with no stipulations, especially since Bianca cheated once before at Backlash, and then again at Hell in a Cell. She didn't cheat, but she acknowledged that she used a ladder. I mean, there's no disqualification, so I'm not really sure what that has to do with it. That's really kind of a stretch, it feels like. She used a ladder to beat me, so therefore it's not fair. Like, it's a fucking Hell in a Cell match, but it didn't stop you from using a kendo stick against Sasha at Hell in a Cell last year, but whatever. She says that she has been ready for everything that's been thrown at her since day one, and she can't wait to win the championship back in front of her father in Dallas, because I guess her dad lives there, or wherever Money in the Bank is. The next person we have on is the returning Zelina Vega. And she says that she is just that good, and that's why she automatically qualified for Money in the Bank without having to win a match. And she also said that Liv cheated, which I didn't catch on, but she did, because I actually did see that, but I just completely forgot about it. Liv held the tights after Zelina held the tights on Liv. Liv reversed it, held the tights, and she calls out Liv for cheating. And when asked whether she was impressed by Liv on this show, she was not, she said. And she's known Liv for a long time. She probably came into the company around the same time that Liv Morgan was in NXT. So they probably know each other fairly well. They were called up within the same span of like 5 or 6 months. Kind of been on the same show for the most part. So they probably know each other well behind the scenes. But yeah, she says if she was to cash in Money in the Bank, and she does tease cashing in the NXT Women's Champion, which is weird because I've never heard that before. She doesn't see any competition in that Money in the Bank ladder match for the women of the pay-per-view. And if she does cash in, she does acknowledge that she is unfinished business with Bianca. And I thought she said that because I'm thinking, okay, she said that because Bianca beat her in her last match on SmackDown before she got fired last year. But then I'm also thinking, no, it's not that actually. She's probably acknowledging the whole Street Profits and Angel Garza and Andrade feud from last year over the Raw Tag Team titles when Zelina Vega poisoned in storyline Montez Ford, Bianca's husband. I completely forgot about that. It was so long ago, and most of those people aren't even on TV anymore. I completely forgot about it. But like a third of those people aren't even in the company, or they weren't at the time until Zelina Vega got rehired. You would think Angel Garza is not in the company anymore, but he is. He's just on Main Event. But anyway, she doesn't need luck, by the way. And then they hype up after Zelina leaves, they hype up next week's qualifiers, which will see Cesaro take on Seth Rollins in a men's Money in the Bank ladder match qualifier, as well as King Nakamura, or Shinsuke Nakamura, whatever, versus Baron Corbin for the upteenth time. Who cares? The last guest they had on the show was the best one, that being Kevin Owens, who was wearing a Bayley shirt, a Ding Dong Hello shirt, which was hilarious, and obviously I know they're close from their NXT days. And he was disappointed. Like, he says that McAfee is as full of shit as Heyman is, and he was asking where Heyman is. He was really excited to be on Talking Smack so he can confront Heyman face to face. But as I said earlier, Heyman wasn't on the show. And he really wished that Jimmy would not have followed in his dumbass brother's footsteps. Is exactly what he says. He calls Jay a dumbass, and he wished that Jimmy would not have followed in his footsteps, but he did, because that's what they do, I guess, on that side of the family. And then, since Heyman is on the show, he pulls out his phone, and I'm wondering, is he just going to leave? Because he's like, I don't need to be here for this, blah, 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 if Heyman's not here. No, he calls Heyman live on the show. He pulls out his phone and calls Paul Heyman on the phone. And he does the whole *6-7 shit to block his own number because he doesn't want Heyman. I don't know how he has Heyman's number. That was never established, but he has Heyman's number. Apparently, Heyman does not have his because he did it from a blocked number. He just says to him over the phone, like, I'm really disappointed you're not here, and I remember all the stuff that you and Roman had done to me earlier this year. I haven't forgotten about that, and I vow to win the Money in the Bank ladder match, and I'm coming after Roman Reigns, and I will cash in that briefcase on him to win that Universal Championship. And then there's a pause. And then Heyman, in classic Heyman fashion, goes, Sir, I'm sorry. I think you have the wrong number. And then that was it. And I think he hung up and then Owens hung up or whatever. That was fucking hilarious. But yeah, this was great. And then he just kind of walks off without even acknowledging Pat McAfee. But a good episode this week. I do miss Paul. We kind of got Paul on the phone with Owens, who was the best part about this episode. Zelina's spot was notable because she just came back to the company on Friday, so you could check her segment out if you want. And then Bayley was good as always. So pretty good episode of Talking Smack this week. That stuff with Kevin Owens at the end was great. And hopefully we get Heyman back on next week's show. And again, I enjoy Pat. Pat's great. But I do think Heyman being in that role is a bit better. And it kind of gives us more sound bites and things to look for. And for the dynamic between him and Kayla alone, this show is worth watching for. Thanks to you guys for checking out my review, the July 3rd, 2021 edition of Talking Smack. I appreciate it. Check out all my other Talking Smack reviews down below in the description box. Be sure to like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content, including 2 exclusive interviews coming in the days to come, including on Monday. The other one I'm not sure might be already up. Might be up today. I don't know. Special 4th of July treat. One with Titus O'Neil, and the other one being with Eva Marie. 2 very random, different interviews, but both were very enjoyable. You're not going to want to miss those. So keep an eye out here on the channel for those 2 interviews, and be sure to hit the bell button to be notified every time those videos go up. And this video and other videos like this, Talking Smack reviews, Raw Talk reviews, SmackDown audio reviews every Saturday, low-key reviews, WrestleRant radio excerpts, other interviews, Q&A videos, everything you can possibly imagine here on the channel. Other WWE Network and Peacock reviews I do, including of WWE Icons, which is dropping today actually on Lex Luger, which is cool. Very special 4th of July treat. I'm looking forward to that. That review should be up, I don't know, probably in the next day or 2. I think it's the last one, right? Because they did Yokozuna in January. They did Rob Van Dam a few months ago. Oh, they didn't do British Bulldog yet, so this is the 4th one. But I like how they dropped it on 4th of July. That's pretty cool. So yeah, it should be up in the next 48 hours. Keep an eye out for that. And yeah, that's about it, guys. So have a great 4th of July. The weather isn't great here today in the Northeast, so hopefully you guys have better weather than I do. If you're not in the States, then just have a great Sunday. Either way, guys, I'm Graham G.S. Matthews. Happy Independence Day, and I'll catch your ass down the road.